Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about the Prime Minister's visit as he embarks on his visit to the Gulf states. Particular significance, of course, our long-standing relationship with the Gulf states and how to boost economic ties at this time with the current cultural economic landscape of Pakistan. We'll be talking about this with a particular significance to the SIFC and facilitation of this investment that we are looking particularly to as far as these Gulf countries are concerned. Of course, we do enjoy economic collaboration, defense partnerships, cultural affinities on which we've built a long-standing relationship. All of that today on Perspective, we'll be exploring what directions this relationship can take in terms of investment and what areas we can look to for particular significance between the Gulf states and Pakistan. All of that today on Perspective. I have with me Munir Ahmad, who's an IR expert. Thank you for joining us today. We also have with us Sultan Ali Haider, who's an expert on political economy. Thank you for being with us. Dr. Khaqan Najeeb, who's former advisor to Ministry of Finance. Thank you for being with us. Dr. Khaqan, let's start off with you overall in terms of the situation at this time, our relationship, the background, of course, our relationship with the Gulf states. What are you looking at with particular significance to this visit of the caretaker Prime Minister as he embarks today?
Very important for Pakistan that Pakistan's for decades we've not been able to gear up our investment, whether it's FDI coming from abroad or whether it's local domestic investment, and also our public sector development program, which is our public sector investment into the economy, has gone down. So overall, you have to believe in this, Mahrukh, that we have not been able to invest in ourselves, in our natural resources, in our agriculture, in our manufacturing, in our human resource. This is the overall framework in which we must look at Pakistan. The countries which have done well have had investment to GDP ratios ranging anywhere between 25 to 40%, be it East Asia, be it China, be it India, be it Bangladesh. All the growth stories were written with investment going up to this level, some foreign direct, some local, some public sector or private sector driven investment. If you were to believe in this paradigm, Pakistan's investment to GDP today stands at 13.7%, which is far, far lower than what is really needed to create sustainable long-term growth in Pakistan. In this, the sectors that SIFC has, highlighted. Even before I say SIFC has highlighted, let me comment on the SIFC composition. We created a board of investment several years ago. And this is what I say to everyone, that had it been successful in gearing up our investment to decent levels, I don't think we would have needed another body or a body which can take a whole of government approach, which BOI was also, premised in the Prime Minister's office for decades to gear up our investment. Then we also created board of investment at the Punjab and the Sindh and KPK and Balochistan level. But unfortunately, this is the ground reality that we have not been able to do so. So SIFC,
so what do we hope to achieve from the SIFC with reference particularly to this visit, in light of, like you said, having earlier bodies which have perhaps not yielded as much result, like you're saying?
Right. So now, because we have a whole of government approach, so we have offered to them not only mines and minerals, agriculture, technology sector, and an array of other areas where they could come and invest, and we could bypass the clogged arteries of the heart or the clogged arteries of our system, which does not allow the foreign investor to have that kind of comfort, not only in terms of setting a business, leading a business and closing a business, and a continuity of the protection that we need to give to FDI coming into Pakistan. SIFC, with the whole of government approach, one hopes, and with the establishment being there, which is a fact of life, will give it a, what you say, perpetuity in terms of at least the next few years, where the investor would be more comfortable putting his or her money in Pakistan. I think that's what one is looking for. So first, of course, some MOUs which are solid in terms of being able to showcase Pakistan's desire in the sectors that I've mentioned to you, and the desire of the Middle Eastern countries, particularly UAE visit, to sign those MOUs so that then they can do the work in terms of feasibility studies, getting investment geared up, and looking into these areas more as areas which can form partnership with Pakistani businesses, which can form partnerships with export from Pakistan, and
Okay.
technological transfer to Pakistan, as well
Are
as
we
monies to
tapping?
Pakistan.
Let me come back to you, Dr. Khaqan. I'll go to Sultan Sab here. Sultan Sab, what about tapping into areas that we have not done in the past, in terms of collaboration with the Gulf countries, UAE?
Specifically, if we are talking about these areas, UAE has done interesting investments before. For example, it has invested in PTCL. We also have in oil and gas sector, there's significant investments. So now the new space that we could be seeing is that if they start investing more in ports and shipping, so that can be one area. IT can be one area. Food security or agriculture, I mean, that is another area that we are highlighting. So they could be doing more in a significant way. So these are some of the other areas that they could be getting into. One last area is, again, is logistics. So because we see UAE is a trading port and it has a large presence in world trade. So if they get more connected to Pakistan, so maybe they'll be more successful in pulling out some of the good commodities that we can be exporting.
Munir Sahab, traditionally speaking, if there are areas we haven't tapped into, what makes this a right juncture in time for us to be able to do so, in your opinion, and to make those significant inroads we're looking for, considering, of course, our economic situation at this time?
In fact, at this time, we are taking a large menu over there for MOUs.
Okay.
And even the number of MOUs are not specified that how, but I believe they will be like more non-conventional MOUs as well.
Okay.
For example, this
time. How do you mean when you say
means like usually we have been like into investments into different sectors, but this time water treatment plants have been included in.
Okay.
And defense pact has been on the agenda, and also cultural and people-to-people contact, they are also on agenda. And also like some political understandings to enhance more political understanding, that is also on the energy. And also energy, like tapping the solar energy basically, or like green energy. And I believe like such kind of pacts, like if we really get into some meaningful investments, it would change the entire scenario of Pakistan, as we say, like social development as well as economic development, and it would develop a little like a larger corridor of investment for UAE. Usually we have seen investments in IT or telecommunication or in the banking sector for as far as into the consumer banking. But the new MOUs that is probably will be coming out of this visit, that would change more the social scenario, like putting investment into the social development. And I would rather believe investing into community-based solutions as far as water treatment plant or solid waste management, or the micro hydro power projects. We have immense potential for it, right from Brogal Valley to downstream. And if we take the opportunity for small investments, engaging communities from different parts along, right as I mentioned, from Brogal Valley to along the Indus River, it would create much more energy, and also harnessing the solar energy and wind energy corridors. And so if they, as they have been included in, and we never had like cultural collaborations or the people to people contact, such kind of engaging people of both countries, and that is that shall be much appreciated.
Let me come back to you. Dr. Khaqan, when we talk about tangibles, when we talk about meaningful investment, how much of this, and when we talk about MOUs, when we talk about this engagement between the two, of course, the two regions, so to speak, as far as Pakistan, UAE is concerned, how in terms of translating into that tangible investment, those meaningful investments, tangible returns for Pakistan, do you see?
So I see a beginning where Pakistan is going to pitch some kind of projects in the areas that we've discussed, whether it's mining, aviation, financial services, energy, ports. We've already leased the ports to them. So we're going to pitch these to them. We are going to have a general understanding that they would start looking into these areas. That's called the MOUs. And then they would develop more depth in terms of understanding what are the opportunities, what are the size of the market, what are we looking at in terms of our offer to them. And then, we improve upon the feasibilities that we have developed. They can improve upon those feasibilities and hope to, in coming months and years, try and get something tangible. I think on the mines and minerals, on the agriculture, we probably have more tangible work that has been done. I have heard there are about 28 projects that we want to pitch. Similarly, in defense, we've been even selling our JF Thunder in Africa. So we've always taken it to the Dubai air show. So let's hope that we start creating a value chain there as well, where some work can go ahead. But of course, these are things which take time. But the whole idea is to start pitching Pakistan from being just, debt, IMF, World Bank, into an kind of an investment destination, that Pakistan is wanting to invest in our people, in our manufacturing, and want others to invest the same for export from Pakistan. We have 9 special economic zones, we have technology zones, we need to populate them. So all this work is gearing up towards this kind of Pakistan, a different kind of Pakistan. For me, that's far more important than actually how much we bag in a visit, because not all MOUs are going to, transform into actual investment. But at least going somewhere and saying that this is what we want to do, this is a different kind of a thinking that we've developed. That mindset for me is very important. We need to keep investing in all the areas, from human resource to manufacturing to improving agriculture. Why?
Dr.
Pakistan
Khaqan,
needs to
how
now
is
run
this? This begs the question, how is this going to be different, in your opinion, from all the other times when we've tried to do the same? Of course, in your opinion, is there business-friendly environment at this time? Is there investment-friendly environment at this time? That, of course, we want to pitch Pakistan as a region of investment. We are hopeful that we will get the investment, but realistically speaking, in terms of the climate at this time.
So the climate is difficult. I mean, I don't think we should have two views about this. But we are trying to now stay with the IMF so that our macro stability starts to be there. And you're seeing early signs of a nascent recovery in the offing. So this is a good time to start harnessing investment into Pakistan. What is, I think, slightly different this time is, of course, that SIFC is a more stronger forum, is a forum where you have all the important players sit together. Then you have an from the Apex committee, then you have an implementation committee. So what I'm hoping is that there is more continuity and there is more push But of course, these are difficult things. This is hard work, harnessing investment into a country, then establishing an ecosystem to
Especially
move
because
that
you've just
forward.
mentioned instances when, other bodies have failed to do the same. In terms of the SIFC, I know you're short of time, but one last question. As far as the SIFC is concerned, the role that it can play, is it not proof that, we have all stakeholders, working towards investment at this time as being the goal for everyone?
So one thing is there that this was established through a political government in June when the last political government was there, and it has sucked in the establishment, and it has sucked in all the important players, stakeholders, especially the provinces. So there is a bit more hope that coordination would improve. Mahrukh, on a very lighter note, I've always said implementation in Pakistan is strictly a matter of good coordination. That's my greatest hope from SIFC, that they can coordinate these parts together. If you need to go and do the 5G, they can push. If you need to go, lease land and there are issues, they can cleanse. So, that's the kind of hope. But of course, these things would take time. Pakistan needs one or two big investments to put Pakistan on the map of being able to do things in Pakistan. His Royal Highness was in Pakistan in 2019. I'm talking to you end of 23. We still don't have the refinery, but hopefully let's have Recordec moving forward if we want to sell our stake
Right,
in
fair
that.
enough.
So let's get something on the table. So and you try 10 things, two of them work out. Not every deal can be harnessed. Let's hope that some deal could be harnessed in the coming months, which will put Pakistan as a destination for investment for the investors abroad, and more importantly, as we calm down things in Pakistan in terms of interest rates, policy rates, macro stability, the local investor has to get sucked into investing within Pakistan as well. Um,
Fair enough.
they
Thank you
need to
so
get
much.
out of dollarization, gold, property, and that's another incentive that we have to create. So this
Right,
whole
fair enough.
ecosystem has to fall through.
Right, fair enough. Thank you so much, Dr. Khaqan. Thank you for your very valuable input. Gee, Munir Sahab, you heard what Dr. Khaqan is saying in terms of trying to get this on the ground, trying to get tangible investment. Is of course going to be difficult at this time, considering where we are economically, but of course the effort is being made day in day out. The visit of the Prime Minister to the Gulf countries is a case in point on that. In your opinion, you talked about meaningful investment, social development. Of course, these states, the Gulf states, are perhaps ideal for us in terms of trying to establish those goals. Are they not?
You're right. Like if we see the previous investments in Pakistan, and they have been very helpful to Pakistan, even in the odd times then when we were suffering from debt crunch, and like we were not be able to pay back, and they put money in our treasury, and also like they put a lot of investment in it. But at the time, as Dr. Khaqan said, it's a matter of how quick we are into materializing the investments or facilitating the direct investments in Pakistan, and secondly, to review the policy rates. And that is very important, and they are the two major things that would facilitate direct investment in Pakistan. And the third most important thing that we have to go for value addition to the products that whatever we are doing here, and employing the local manpower into it, and local resources into it. So then it would be the investment will be more meaningful, and we also need to operationalize our mechanisms or the resources that we have. Like we have institutions, but they are not delivering the best and the maximum output. We need to make them perform as well, and that is possible only if we trained our human power, and also make our systems more efficient. That is very important. And the large investments, the mega projects are very important. But I believe grassroots initiatives that delivers more at the local levels. And they also need not very big investments, but their results are then and there,
For
and
example?
also for the local communities. And it will, they start witnessing the results of the
But
investments.
when you talk about grassroots investments, what do you mean?
It means going to the local communities. For example, as we are talking about the smart agriculture, we have to engage farmers in it, and we have to operationalize more meaningfully our institutions over there to engage farmers and to guide them well in time. This is one thing. As I mentioned, small hydro projects, right from alongside the Indus River, right from Broghol Valley and like Chitral or Gilgit-Baltistan, and because they will start getting cost-efficient energy over there. We have vast fields for solar energy, and if we engage the local people and we invest into, and even every household if gets solar panels on discounted rates, and if the investment is made in it, every household will have their own energy system. So I mean, they are the grassroots initiatives. Definitely we need more dams to collect water. Water storages are very important.
Infrastructure, in our own country to be able to sustain the investment, like you are saying, it's also extremely important. But Sultan Sahab, do you think that we can move towards, that kind of social-based, community-based projects that Munir Sahab is talking about? Right now, for us, of course, the main goal is trying to attract as much investment as possible.
You see, I think this is great, and this is the direction that we should be moving into. At the same time, when we are talking about engaging the Gulf countries, and when we are talking government to government engagement, so that is more related to the mega projects. They may be making some funds available, and how that is structured, so that in itself will take in its own details, right? But I would like to bring the focus more on a different thing. In terms of the UAE visit of the Prime Minister, we should be seeing this as an evidence point, right? Because in the larger scheme of things, we see that once SIFC got instituted, there has been a lot of discussion on bringing investment from the GCC countries. There was this recent meeting in September, early September, where there was in the news items that the Chief of Army Staff, he also met a few businessmen. And there it was quoted that that commitments are being sought from UAE, Qatar and Saudi for $25 billion investment each. So that would total to around $75 billion. There were also news items that from Kuwait we will try to seek another 25 billion. So, and in total the thing was that we'll try to get between 75 to $100 billion. Now if we zoom out further, how big this is and how it's a quantum leap. Why? Because till 1990s, investment FDI in Pakistan was less than $200,000-300,000 annual. Then it started to increase, but it really increased during Musharraf era, where that's the highest that we saw. For 3 years we got between 4.5 to $5.5 billion. That was 2006, 7 and 8. After that, till now, from 2009 to 2023, we have been range bound between $1.3 billion to $2.5, $2.6 billion. So compared to this, we are talking about huge quantities. So how this will work is, based on the comfort, they will allocate funds. For example, if the Saudis, they allocate 25 billion, then their sovereign wealth funds, they will start looking at different investment proposals. So they'll be going through investment proposals which will be much more than $25 billion, and from there they'll pick and choose. So it will be a pure commercial decision.
Like Dr. Khaqan was saying, he was talking about the visit of,
The Prime Minister.
yes, no, he was talking about King Salman's visit
yeah.
and earlier visit, and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the hope that was attached
Yeah.
to that. Do you feel that perhaps we could not achieve what, as far as investment after proceeding to the visit, and how hopeful the government at that time was?
Yeah.
Do you feel that we could achieve the kind of goals or the kind of hopes that had been set out in that regard?
I think that's a very, very good example to look at, because His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, his visit comes in and he commits, and there's a lot of enthusiasm shown by their side and a lot of enthusiasm shown by our side. But translating that investment into investment, a practical investment, we could not follow through. And I have personal experience of
the lesson that's learned from there. I mean, what do you feel?
That's what I'm trying to explain is I have personally tried to bring in investment, big ticket investments, and in that area what I have experienced is that it falls through the cracks when it comes to the government, because when somebody is bringing big ticket investment, they want certain efficiency, they want to be welcomed, they want things to be really smooth, and so that it translates into businesses getting set up on the ground and investment flowing in. There are so many cracks and so many gaps, and at times when investor is coming in, they feel really insecure. To give you a specific example,
Yes.
I personally had conversations pre-2016 era, right? Trying to bring in investment from GCC. And people would take it with amusement, because Pakistan, there was a lot of terrorism in Pakistan.
Right.
So now we have mashallah, a very stable country in terms of terrorism, right?
Right. Fair enough.
Again, it could not happen. Now, SAFC creation is trying to exactly fill in that gap.
That gap, right. Fair enough. Let me go to Dr. Iftikhar Ahmed, who's former advisor, UNDP. He is in UAE at this time. Dr. Iftikhar, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Dr. Iftikhar, we're talking about this visit of the Prime Minister, with a view to, of course, extend economic ties between Pakistan and UAE, and of course facilitation in terms of investment. How do you look at this visit and what it can achieve for Pakistan?
I think it is a marvelous opportunity again when Pakistan has created a special initiative for the Business Council recently. So the question is, now we have to work on the most important thing. Pakistan, I will just invite you to look at the ease of doing a business report. As per 2020 report, Pakistan is on 108th position, 108th position, and UAE is already in 16th position. So there's a huge gap. So we have to cover this gap. How can we invite investors to come in the country, and they can do business, and we have to make the procedures and processes more swift as required by the rest of the world. So this is most important. And again, the opportunity is Pakistan. UAE is the second largest importer of Pakistan. For Pakistan, Pakistan is importing second largest import is from UAE after China, and same is for the export. So I think this is a big player in Pakistan's economy. So these are the parameters we have to look into.
Overall, what sectors, what areas do you think, particularly are going to be, attempt is going to be made to tap into with regard to this? Of course, MOUs are going to be signed. And, what areas can we, see as areas of mutual cooperation between Pakistan and the UAE?
I think for Pakistan revenue perspective, human resource is the largest. We should not forget there are two areas. Obviously, one is energy and human resource. Pakistan has its trade with UAE already risen from 1.3 to 7.1 since last 15 years. But we have to see that 1.3 million Pakistani workers are in. It's 12% of the diaspora here in UAE. And India has 2.8 million. So it's more 20 plus percentage. So we have to work on it so that our value-added workforce can be here. Instead of already they have seized your visas for the non-skilled, and illiterate or non-skilled workers. So this is one of the area because it brings revenue, foreign exchange for the country. Obviously, oil. 17% of GDP of UAE is oil and gas, and Pakistan has the largest 40% of its uh, energy need is met by the import. So we have to see how can we get benefit of import, and especially in renewable energy import instead of fossil fuel, because already we are at the verge of COP28 now. I think it is the globally campaign is already that we have to replace the fossil energy into into a renewable source. So these are the two main areas. If we can tap, I think this will bring a large change for our major issues.
In terms of, also we're talking about community-based projects, things that can trickle down, to the grassroots level. Of course, agriculture is a huge sector in which we can, technology is something that we've been looking at with regard to agriculture in particular. Are there any other, areas you think that we can benefit as far as the grassroots level is concerned? For us, of course, that's a huge consideration as far as Pakistan is concerned.
Obviously, agriculture we are actually competing as a food basket for the Gulf countries with the India or the other countries like in the region. But this, I think, skill development is one of the major issue for Pakistan. It will reduce your unemployment, increase your share in this world, especially in value-added areas, not only simple labor. Which is already at risk. And obviously, then we can find more export opportunities if we can channelize, we can make our systematic approach for our value addition products, especially in food and our textile products and other value added products, especially technology-based products. Because UAE is not only a consumer society for high-tech technologies, as it's not a big country, but it is a big platform. There are so many countries. I mean, more than 20 countries source their products from UAE market, regional market. So we can imagine it's more than 20 times more than its population or the potential.
Of course, like as you said, potential as a market, is also is huge for Pakistan. For our citrus, for our dairy, isn't that true?
Of course, it is in food. Obviously, we are already trying, but at the national level and very concerted efforts and well programmed, managed efforts is required. For example, in UAE, we have our meat market is already good because of more organic than the other rest of the countries. So all the global food chain is shifting towards organic products, non GM products. So we have a large delta for this opportunity. We can tap this, but required is that we have to make our efforts localized. Instead of federal government is establishing organizations, dairy development organization, the food development or other institutions, but we are not very clear in the policy implementation. If until or unless it is at district level, we have to tap produce resources at district level. We have to do accountability at district level, and the technology should be implemented at district level. So if we can do this, then we can have different specialty areas, and that can be, and just like China is targeting, they have regional target markets, and they produce products for that particular region according to their required specifications.
Fair enough. Let me come back to you, Sultan Sahab. How do we do that on regional level, district level, which is what Dr. Iftikhar is talking about? You think, of course, we see that SIFC perhaps is that body that can help facilitate that. Isn't that true?
Yes, because in terms of different regions, there's this internationally there's this whole science about clusters getting developed, right? So for example, in Pakistan we see in Sialkot the cluster regarding sports developed.
Yes.
In Gujranwala again it's manufacturing electrical appliances and metalwork. So these clusters naturally develop. In terms of agriculture also, you see, for example, in Sargodha area, you have citrus farming, and Balochistan and KP, you have dry fruits. So those clusters do get developed. So what the role, how SIFC can help is, because it will be channeling those investments into these areas, and wherever investors are particularly interested in a specific industry. So because at the end of the day, the whole job is to showcase that this is a portfolio of potential investments, and wherever the investor likes to invest.
Right, fair enough. Munir Sahab, in terms of, you heard what Dr. Iftikhar is saying. We've tried to do this before, and I mentioned this because there are, perhaps we can learn from where, the loopholes or the problems at this time. That's why I say perhaps there is a lot of hope with the SIFC at this time, and the way that they can coordinate this. The Prime Minister also had a meeting of the SIFC before he embarked on his trip. Do you see this as a significant development as for this kind of facilitation in economic ties with, for example, UAE?
It could be because we have seen in the recent weeks that major efforts are being taken out to coordinate within the departments and organizations within the country, and that is very important. To make a level playing field for the investors. And I believe, as Dr. Iftikhar said, we have a lot of scope for human resource export. And secondly, UAE or the other UAE, the different states can be used as the hub or the junction to export it to other countries as well, to the neighboring Arab countries or to the Western countries, because UAE is basically a destination to reach out to several other countries. So that is very important. And the foremost thing that we have neglected in our discussion, that is the defense export.
Right.
Because in the present agenda, there is also defense collaboration. Defense collaboration, what else could be to exporting our defense products, and we have a huge potential of exporting such products. And given the current situation in the Middle East, I think this could also be a huge potential. And another thing that has been included in the agenda is the cultural collaboration.
Yes,
cultural economy is the huge economy.
Right. And let's hope that we can tap into that. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for joining us, Munir Ahmad Saab. Thank you for your time. Sultan Ali Haider Saab, thank you for joining us. Dr. Iftikhar Ahmed, thank you for being with us today. Dr. Khaqan Najeeb, thank you for joining us. Of course, we have high hopes with the PM's visit of the UAE, as far as signing MOUs and translating investment for the grassroots level, also for tangible investment to come into Pakistan. Of course, the efforts that are being made, facilitated by the SIFC, overall, we look to seeing a lot of investment, a lot of good news coming from that direction. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.